Hey guys, so today we've got a shave based on a friend of mine online who's a regular viewer, Achim, in Singapore. And we talk a lot in the comments, and he isn't having any luck dialing in Mitchell's wool fat. Now he's a face latherer, and so I'm going to stick with a bowl lather today. I'm just going to show him and you guys what maybe we can do with Mitchell's wool fat in a bowl. Now, I don't think I'm going to convert him to a bowl lather, but let's just see what is going on. He said he even loaded with a Shavemac 2-band for like 2 minutes. And I've heard that even though I do pre-soak my Mitchell's wool fat, I've heard other people don't and still work with it just fine. I like to soak mine because it is actually a hard soap. And so I do soak mine. So we've got that soaking. Here's the very cool vintage looking ceramic lid there that goes with it. The other day I shaved with this head. It's the new improved from Gillette. It's a vintage. It's called a new. We use all caps to tell that apart from just the word new. I got this, and I think this kind of looks cool. This is a blue handle, stainless steel handle from Maggard Razors. They had a great sale on it, I don't know, several months ago. I think it looks great with this gold brass color. And because the actual handle for this one, I used it recently. It's got a split, and so it does rotate. And I didn't want to loosen it when I shake out the razor in between passes and things like that. I just want to keep it nice and secure until I'm able to glue that up. And something I thought about, we've got a couple of goals here in this shave. I got some pretty good blade feel with this head before, and I pushed that online, and somebody commented, a fellow shaver with, yeah, that's kind of been my experience too. A lot of blade feel, a little rough. And so I put in my comment, not bothersome, and he said, yeah, that's pretty high praise. And so apparently it treats him a lot worse than that. But I thought, you know what, if it's kind of on the aggressive side, and at least I'd say it's mid-aggressive to slightly more than mid would be my guess, I'm going to put my aging feather, how many, 46, 46 uses. So we're going to put 47 uses on it today, and the 47th use, here's its little mark that I put on it in the beginning. And maybe as this will be a good razor head to make this feather feel a little nicer. Sometimes when if I'm trying to just see how long I can make a blade go for, I move it to different razors when it gets a little rough in one, especially a milder one. So I'm wondering if this might be a good upgrade for the feather. So there we go. Perfect alignment every time with this one. Let me get this brush back in the water. Get those tips. The tips absorb water a little bit. They've been treated, bleach kind of stuff, and these don't gel up, but I do want them to soften a little bit more than average because this does have a decent amount of backbone. All right, so start off by getting my face a little wet. So just a few minutes the Mitchell's wool fat has had to soak, not very long. I pour off the bloom water, the soak water. If I could pour a little bit of it in my bowl, and that would probably conserve a little bit of soap. And I'm going to take this, since I'm going to do my normal routine, I'm going to shake most of this water out. I do have hard water. And then let's load for 45 seconds. We're coming up against 45 right now, and so that's fortuitous. So we'll load until we get to 30 seconds on the next minute. This is a soap with lanolin, and it just kind of smells like clean linen outside. I don't think it's a feminine smell, just kind of fresh and clean. This is one of the few soaps that I have here in my bathroom all the time. I like to just use it whenever I can. Since a puck lasts for so long, I do like to use it for breaking in new brushes, doing test lathers, things like that. 10 more seconds. And then usually I'll do a test lather, and then I'll wish that I could use it for the shave. I'll just enjoy it so much. Okay, so that's 45-second load. And so here's what my brush looks like with that load. And then I'm going to put that in my shave bowl, and I'm going to rinse the sides of this off. Pay very close attention to the ceramic dish when it gets all soapy. It does get slippery. It's one of the reasons I rinse it off. Just make sure you have a good hold on it. All right. Here's my Roger Quintero lather bowl. 3D printed bowl, and you can do that for yourself if you have access to that type of device, or there are some online services you can use. I need to make a page or something. I have gotten word from 3 different users that have told me how their printing experience went with the online service. I really need to put that information, make it easy for you guys to get, in case some of you guys want not just to print this bowl, but any of the designs that you can find online, and there are really lots of them. There are a few shaving brush handles out there, some racks that your brushes and razors and stuff can be put on. So here's what the lather looked at right away when I was bowl lathering. Pretty normal. 1 teaspoon in the lather, and that nice, clean, fresh scent is coming up to greet me. I could definitely use this soap every day. Just got the soapy classic scent. So we've already got a nice rich, so I know I've loaded enough. Unfortunately, I don't know what my last ratio was. You know, did I add a lot of water to it? How long did I even load? You know, that sort of thing. I kind of switched to a new way of tracking that info. So we've got 2 teaspoons in it now. Good. This is a puck that lasts a very long time. At least it can. And it keeps a very long time. Now, if you don't use it for a while, and if you don't seal it up super tight, then it can crack because it loses the moisture. Don't worry about it. It's just fine. Just if you want to start using it again, just put a little bit of water. What I do, I mean, some people just come at it with a wet brush, but what I do is soak it just for a few minutes while you're prepping your gear. Got 3 teaspoons in it. Let's put in most of it. We'll go ahead and put in another one. So 4. Gotta push down the lather with the brush and get it down in there with all the lather in the bottom. So I'll be able to, you know, Achim is having trouble with the Mitchell's wool fat with his face lathering, and I can kind of understand that. I have had trouble with the PDP, the Prix de Provence. It's a vegan soap, and I've had trouble with face lathering that myself, so I can understand. Now we've got 4 teaspoons in it 45-second load. And look at that. That is a beautiful looking lather. Let's feel. Yeah, nice and slick. Yep, that is how I remember some Mitchell's wool fat. It's also fairly inexpensive for as many good shaves that you'll get out of it. You can buy just the puck by itself as a refill puck and then put it in a cereal bowl or a little one of those ramekins for food and sauces and things, or a Pyrex bowl if you want an inexpensive loading bowl, or whatever you want to do. You can sometimes find used the ceramic with the hard puck inside. That's what I did, and I got a great deal. Otherwise, it's a little pricey, especially if you don't know if you're going to like the soap. It's a little pricey to get the ceramic bowl and the soap mug, soap puck. I love it. And because you'll sometimes see it online for used, because people get it and kind of like Achim have a little bit of trouble with it. Now, because of my loading style, as you can see, I'm not having any problem with this guy at all. Maybe it's better if you don't come at it with a lot of water, which is kind of what I do. Look at that. And you can take this guy really wet if you want. Nice and elastic. Now he's holding himself up right there. So we could maybe push him a little further. Let's add a half of you know what, we can always add that later if we need to. I'm going for luxurious and enjoy this brush and that sort of thing. Looks like we've got plenty of lather for more than 3 passes. All right, so wet my face. A lot of the brush is widened out because we have a lot of the lather inside the bristles. Oh, and that feels terrific. And some people even soak it for a long period of time. But you can see I just soaked it for a few minutes. And I guarantee you I am going to have plenty of lather for more than 3 passes. This is feeling good. Definitely is maybe on the dry side of perfect, perhaps. I am getting a little bit of clumping down here, but to be honest, it may actually be even better than that. It may be right in that perfect zone. It sure does feel good. So right now I'm just spending a little extra time to let the lather sink into my skin, that first layer, to protect it with its slickness. The scent is not strong. All right, so that is 4.5 teaspoons of water in this mix. And now let's see if the smoothed out feather with its 46 uses will feel a little smoother, a little nicer in the more aggressive head. It was a little bit rough on me the other day with a mild razor. So let's just see what we get. Little Tuggy. most guys would say probably not a little tuggy, but quite tuggy. Rather, definitely on the tuggy side of the world. So it looks like this geometry, which is, you know what? I've often found that when the blade starts to age a little bit more, you need a razor that bends the blade more. And you can see this guy just does not. Keeps it fairly flat. So I want to stick with the grain so that I don't give myself some irritation. And I guarantee you the other passes are going to be just fine. All right, rinse. So yeah, I definitely hear echoes around the internet about people who've had an experience similar to Achim's, where the Mitchell's wool fat just didn't really match up with them. They just weren't able to get a good lather with it. And it just must be a style thing. It must like to be lathered a certain way, and not everybody's pattern is the same. And so if you happen to get a soap that needs to be kind of lathered with a lightly wet brush, then when you're used to maybe using a wetter brush, then it may not do well for you until you're able to kind of experiment and find its little nuances. But the good news is there's so many good soaps out there. Sometimes instead of figuring out how to work with one, just buy another one. And sell the one that's not working for you. And as far as I know, the Mitchell's is a small soap shop. It's been around for a while, but it's just like a small shop, a small family type business in England that makes it. So I've definitely wanted to put some more Mitchell's videos online just to show people good lathers from Mitchell's, put some good content out there hopefully. And because this is a tremendous lather. All right, and a little bit of a rinse. And you can feel that slickness during the rinse. This is not a super luxurious lather, so you saw how kind of pliable and elastic it was. So maybe stop a little bit before that if you want something a little bit more luxurious and creamy, but I'd say this is pretty much perfect. It's a nice wet lather. Feels good on my face. It's protecting my skin well, especially in this kind of scenario where I've got a rough blade. And that second pass was pretty comfortable. And this one's going to be even better. I really think this blue handle looks pretty cool with the gold color of the razor head. Cross grain again on my face is what I do. Most people try to, on the third pass, do a against the grain pass, which would, for me, would be something like that. But I don't need to get that close. I could probably do it on my face with some razors. And with most of the stubble gone, the feather is playing very nicely, gliding well with good comfort. It was so sharp yesterday that I cut this little bump right near my ear. You can see the redness probably. So on its 46th use, it was still sharp enough to just shave a bump. top right off a bump. All right. And that was 3 passes. Face feels great. That tugging feeling that was there in that first pass, just totally gone. Face is comfortable. I mean, maybe just a shade of tenderness around certain areas on my neck, but really almost not there at all, really. And let's rinse. And many people think that feathers aren't sharp after just a few shaves. Well, I just did shave number 47 and got a very nice close cut in my trouble spot area. Everywhere else, it's even better. I mean, really almost baby butt smooth on my cheeks. So I do think that we'll find another razor for this. Bring it to one of my razors that flexes it just a bit more, and maybe we'll be able to keep going with it. Because with my testing in terms of pushing a blade as far as it'll go, I've done that with a Nacet, and I'm at 220 uses with it, and it still is going. I did have to switch to different razors at various stages. Start off with the first 40 uses on a mild razor, but then you have to change up, at least I do. And this one was similar, the feather was. And so now I'm finding its next razor. And it's not this one, but I'm also going to stop. I don't know if other people have taken a feather to 100, so hopefully I can too. But I don't know how long the feather will go. And right now it's a kind of an uncomfortable tuggy shave, even though second pass and third pass were just fine. But then I wouldn't keep going if this was the only kind of shave that I got. I would stop and say, well, with that feather blade, for me, it was just 47 uses or something like that, which I still think is great, because if you can get that many uses out of an expensive blade like a feather, then it switches it from an expensive blade to something really, really budget friendly. If you get that many uses out of it. Now, we did 3 full passes, and we have actually the 45 seconds might be very close to being the right amount to load with. I've got 2 passes here. I might be able to squeeze out 3 from it, and I usually like to have 1 for margin. Nice. Look at that long peak. Nice elasticity with this. So, Achim, I don't know if this helps you at all in terms of what you're trying to achieve with your own Mitchell's wool fat pursuits, but here's the kind of lather it is capable of producing. And good luck to you if you keep working at it with your face lathering. Then you might be able to land into this. It's a nice light lather. Let's see how. Feels just terrific. I like to watch for the gravity to affect the tips there. That's good. Feel the slickness. Yeah, that's nice. It's not super viscous, but it doesn't feel like it's bubbly. It doesn't feel just airy. You actually feel some of the viscosity there, and so I do enjoy this lather base quite a bit. And I think I did nail the consistency in terms of the way I like it. Just perfect. It's slick, but it's got a nice luxurious feel. So that is the way. And there are a few of the micro bubbles that you may be able to see in parts of the lather, but they're not coming across. They're not making the lather feel airy like some other soaps do, like Prix de Provence, for instance. Just a nice lather. And I think it's flexible. You could go a little thicker than this if you wanted to apply a little bit less water, and you can apply more water and get it to be wet if you want to. So I'm really happy with the way this one worked out. I can't touch the pause button on my camera because my hands are all over the lather. There we go. I'll do a little bit of cleanup as well. Well, I've been really liking this Sharp Dressed Man balm that I have lately. So let's throw some of that on. It's not quite as precise a match with the Mitchell's Wool Fat. I have that Tuscany Balm from Stirling that I like a lot. It's more of a sweeter scent. I think it might, it's easier going. This Sharp Dressed Man is designed to be like a green Irish tweed, which has a little bit of pungency to it, a little bit of zest. And I don't think that is kind of what Mitchell's wool fat is all about. But, you're not really going to get very much scent from the Mitchell's wool fat on you that's going to stick around. It's going to be lightly available during the shave, and then it's not going to interfere with anything post-shave scent-wise that you might want to do. The scent during the shave, very light. 3 out of 10. Enjoyable, classic, soapy. I think it's unisex. I think it's just a clean, fresh scent, and so I don't think it's feminine. I don't think it's floral, but I also don't think it's overtly masculine, unless you just think of that classic barbershop era as a masculine type endeavor or environment. So yeah, Sharp Dressed Man, very nice. And this is their old label, so that's why I wanted to use this balm up before it goes bad. I'm sure it's a few years old. All right, well, that's smelling pretty good, and I'm going to clean up my stuff. Wanted to pass on what I believe might be a pretty decent tip. At the end of the shave, if you take your brush and I've already done this, you start at the root and just gently squeeze as it goes up there, and you'll have lather, a rich lather, come out the top of the tips of the brush. Well, this is that lather, about half of it. Now compare that lather with what you shaved with, and right now I feel it. It's pretty much the same lather. It's rich and slick. Now, if your lather that comes out of your brush is even richer than what you shaved with, then you may want to, if you want to have that rich lather, maybe do a little bit more mixing, because you just didn't homogenize everything. The stuff in the bowl didn't have a chance to mix properly with all the stuff that was in the brush, and so you ended up with a little bit of concentrate in the brush. Maybe add more water next time might be an idea to help to get a good mix. It's unlikely that you're going to get something a little too wet inside your brush. Almost always when I do that, it's something equal to or slightly richer than what I shaved with. And so sometimes if your lather may be a little too airy, you think it might be a little too airy, get that concentrate out of the brush, or rather the kind of extra creamy stuff out of the brush, and feel it. Is it just as airy as what you shaved with? Is it not? If it's the same, then you probably did as best with your lather as you could. If it feels creamier, now you know, mix a little longer, maybe add a little bit more. It depends. Maybe a little bit more water, maybe just longer mixing. Maybe the kind of mixing where you're pressing the brush down into the lather to take that more airy lather, push it up into your bristles so that it can maybe push the creamy stuff out to start mixing with the other lather so everything's uniform. So for me today, it's a nice uniform lather. I also wanted to take a moment because it was recently, I think maybe yesterday, I found out that Michael Friedberg, a popular YouTube wet shaver, very popular. He's put out a lot of good evaluation videos. I think he usually puts out 1 or 2 a week. Shaves a week with a certain product, so it's a great way to do it because he gets a chance to work out any kinks with his technique or something. And sure enough, he reviewed something recently that didn't give him a good first impression, but then he figured it out. But he has decided to hang up his YouTube chops for a little while, at least, maybe permanently. he writes up reviews with his videos, and you know that takes a little while to do a well-written review and be objective and phrase things in an interesting way that people want to read. He also edits his videos. I don't edit mine. I just kind of let the stream go. But he has a wet shaving series, wet shaving tutorial. It's a 4-part series that I have recommended many, many times. If you're a beginning wet shaver, definitely check it out. Michael Friedberg's wet shaving tutorial, and I bet YouTube will find it if you just type that in. Friedberg, F-R-E-E-D-B-E-R-G. I don't think it's U-R-G. I think it's E-R-G. And so, highly recommend that. He's a face lather, and I've definitely mentioned him on my channel many times, where I'm a bowl latherer. And so if you want to learn how to face lather, you can watch me and laugh a little bit. But for more authoritative shaves, go to many of his. He's got a lot out there. He does a great job. He's also in North Carolina, kind of like I am. So there's a little bit of a brotherhood there. But he'll definitely be online. He said he's not, you know, tuning out of shaving. He's just reducing his effort level. He said online, he said that whenever making the videos becomes more of a chore and it's not as enjoyable to do, then he would quit. And I think it's a great attitude to have, because I can feel that sometimes. Sometimes I'll just reach over and pick a soap that I just don't even want to think too much. Let's just get the shave done, get to sleep, yeah, that sort of thing. And then sometimes when I start to write up, I will say, well, you know what? I'm just going to say the basics. I'm not even worried about phrasing it in an interesting way. Let's just get a little bit of information out there and let the video speak for itself. And so I definitely get where he's coming from. And I'll probably have the same philosophy with, you know, if it ever just stops being fun and enjoyable, then I'll probably hang up my hat too, let somebody else take the reins. But anyway, Michael, thank you so much for all the great videos you put out. And I will still recommend his 4-part wet shaving tutorial series to new users. Just covered a lot of good information, and a lot of his information was good information. There are definitely plenty of YouTube shavers out there that, you know, there's some questionable stuff, or they might phrase their preferences in a way where it seems like I'm telling you something that's universally accepted, you know. But I don't think he did that very much at all. And there we go. So Michael Friedberg, thank you again. I do appreciate it, and the whole shaving community. He'll be out there still, like on Reddit, maybe some of the forums, and you know, different places like that. So he'll be contributing to the community, just maybe not with videos, he said. And there we go. That was a little bit of a shock, you know, to be honest with you. I don't subscribe to too many channels. His is one of them that I do subscribe to, and I always read his write-up to see his kind of summary, and then that is kind of what it indicates to me as to whether I am interested in the product enough to watch the video. So, all right. Well, we're letting the razor dry. The Mitchell's Wolfat is ready to go. If you want to get back into Mitchell's Wolfat and it's all cracked and stuff, just keep using it every day. And the moisture, as it retains a little bit of moisture each time, it'll start to swell back up. You know, kind of look more normal. But you can also, if you want, take a cheese grater, shred it into shreds, and then press it down into the bottom of your container again. And so it won't be quite so cracked looking, you know. All right. Well, we'll try the feather in another razor the next time we use that feather, and maybe see if we can put it in one that curves the blade a little bit more. This razor does hold the blade pretty nicely. I didn't feel chatter and, you know, skittishness as it was moving across my face. The Sharp Dressed Man, kind of mild. I'm enjoying that. That'll be good to go to sleep too. And I think we're good. So 4.5 teaspoons of water were used. Lightly wet brush is what I started out with, and the 45 seconds of loading. So next time I might try 40 seconds, maybe 35 might be kind of a perfect magic number to give me a little bit of margin in soap, but not too much. There we go. Enjoy Mitchell's wool fat. It's a classic. So this is Sugar Daddy Shaves. I sure hope there's been something here for you, especially Achim. I don't know if this information will help you in any way, but just just wanted to say hey, and here's some Mitchell's wool fat video for you. I hope you enjoy it. All right, you guys, take care. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. Goodbye.